So I want to start out when we talk about no more reputations. What I want to do is I'd like you to all close your eyes for a minute, and I'd like you to visualize. And what I want you to visualize is not something that went great in your life. What I want you to visualize is the most embarrassing moment you've ever had in your life. So my most embarrassing moment was, I don't really remember the rest of that night. What I do remember is the next morning, Sunday morning, waking up in a fountain, laying in a fountain on the University of Minnesota campus, clutching a cherry cheesecake. And to this day, I have no clue where I got the cherry cheesecake from. Everybody has a personal brand today. We're all Googleable, if you will. And what I see is a lot of people not taking the care to manage their own brand, to manage their own personal online reputation. Every corner of the hotel, you're being watched. And there's a room somewhere in this hotel where people are watching every one of your moves. Now imagine 30 years ago at the University of Minnesota campus, imagine if that was today. Football player caught in a pool clutching a cherry cheesecake. I mean, that would have been a YouTube sensation, right? So think, that's the world in which we live today. You all remember 1984 Big Brother? Big Brother's here, period. Whether we like it or not, it's here. How are we dealing with it? And it's not only the pictures, it's not only the videos, there's so much stuff out there, so much information about all of you. And you might think, no, I work in operations at an apartment complex. There's nothing out there about me. You're wrong. So what is a brand? You know, a lot of people think that a brand is a logo or an icon. So who's this? Geico, right? Now, does this lizard have anything to do with insurance whatsoever? I don't think so. But yet, anywhere I go in the United States, in North America, I can show this picture, and pretty much everybody knows who it is. By the way, when I ask questions, that's kind of the interactive part of the presentation. So what's the unstated promise of this logo? Quality, speed, performance, right? What's the unstated promise of this logo? Say it again, louder. What are the words that come to mind when you see that? The emotional words. Kick the competition, right? You're going to be a winner. Just do it. I was at Sports Authority the other day. Had to buy some basketball shoes. Now, in the old days, I was a pretty darn good basketball player. I could actually dunk a tennis ball. Pretty darn close to dunking a basketball. I was pretty good. Today, if I were to try to jump for a rebound, if you could take a credit card and get it under my feet and out before my feet hit the ground again, we'd be pretty lucky. I've got a vertical of about half an inch. But yet, I needed a new pair of basketball shoes. So I'm at the Sports Authority, and there's two choices. I've narrowed it down to two choices. There's the $20 pair of Chuck Taylors, and there's the $280 pair of Air Jordans, the new Air Jordans. Which one did I get? I spent $280. Why? Because even though somebody who teaches this stuff, who knows this stuff, who practices this stuff, somehow I looked at that logo and I said, you know, maybe I can relive the glory days just a little bit. Maybe I can be like Mike if I get those shoes. Now, the reality is, no, I would perform no better if I had bought the $20 pair of Chuck Taylors, yet I still spent the $280. That's the power of the brand. So what's a personal brand? It's how you're perceived, or the promise of what I'm going to experience working with any one of you. So what's your personal brand? If I Google you, what am I going to find? How does that impact my impression of you? How does that impact my impression of your company? If I'm going to Google your name, what's the unstated promise I'm going to get working with you? Because frankly, that's my first impression. And for most of us, if you think about it, whether you're going out on a date, whether you're applying for a job, or whether you're looking for a new service provider for your business, you're going to Google that individual. See, the problem with a reputation is we spend our entire lives creating a wonderful reputation, and it just takes a second to ruin it, especially in today's world. But 15 years ago, let's say you really screwed up. You did something wrong in business. Maybe you embarrassed your family. You did something bad in the community. How many people really knew about it? Not very many. Maybe a couple of friends told each other. In terms of national broadcast mediums, how many were there? 3. I mean, it just shocks my kids when I tell them that, yeah, when I was your age, I watched 3 television programs or 3 television stations. And by the way, when I wanted to change, I had to get up, walk, turn the thing. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, try it sometime. We're like, we don't know how to do it. Let
Let me show you some examples of people that, in my opinion, have really screwed up. Maybe we can learn from them. And by the way, all of these are from business owners, executives just like you.
So let's play a little game of American Idiot. Let's watch what other business executives have done. If I could shoot Obama, Biden, Nancy, and Hillary and Janet in the back of the head, oh boy. What do you think happened when the CEO of this company, this was the CEO of a company who posted this on his Twitter account, who showed up at his office the next morning? That would be the Secret Service. Oops. What do you think of that photo? Come on. This is like why the rest of the world hates America.
What's the likelihood that one of these high net worth individuals is going to Google your name before they decide to work with you? What do you think the likelihood is? 100%. 100%. I said, what do you think they find? He said, I have no clue. I said, well, I found your MySpace page. He said, oh yeah, that thing. I set that up like 5 years ago. He goes, is that still out there? I said, not only is it out there, but it's been hijacked by a pornographer. Which I said, and now that I think about it, may actually be the reason why his practice is so successful. This was a gentleman who had a negative experience at Jiffy Lube. I guess it's fine. It's a free country. You can post your opinion, except if you're the marketing director of a professional baseball team whose Jiffy Lube happens to be the major sponsor. So he was introduced to new career opportunities when he came into office the next day.
Thank goodness the election is over. How many of you have a Facebook account? And how many of you are just sick and tired of all your friends that you thought were normal sending these Facebook posts?
Everything you do online you got to think through the consequences. So here's the Wisconsin Tourism Federation. They decided to come out with a new logo. They should have maybe looked at what's some of the popular acronyms online. Now, how many of you have young children here? Does this offend you that I can find stuff like this online? It does to me. I've got a 14-year-old daughter. I kind of give kids, unfortunately, we give them the power of these tools. Us as adults don't really know how to use them.
Here's my friend Rebecca. Now, how many of you did this? Let's be honest with each other. How many of you did this on your Facebook page? Rebecca, thank you. Now I know that I have 7 days to steal every single thing in your home. As a matter of fact, there's a website called pleaserobme.com.
You just need to go through life thinking everything you do online, in digital format, whether that's a text, a tweet, a Facebook post, a comment on a blog, or your website, anything in digital format, you need to assume that that piece of information that you just put online is going to be out there in the public domain and searchable forever. Before you ever hit the send button, before you ever hit the post button, say to yourself, am I going to be embarrassed if this shows up in tomorrow's newspaper? I call it the Wall Street Journal test. In the bar, in the restaurant with your friends, it's funny because they know the context of it. They know you. They know you're not racist. They know you're not sexist. But you put that online, nobody knows who you are. Think of the tweet that you send. Think of that blog post that you respond to. Somebody posts something that you don't like politically and you respond to it. You fire it off. You got to stop. You got to think, hey, before I hit that send button, what's it going to look like?
Super important. Go own your own name. And if you're going to be in the public eye, go own versions of your own name. Don't let anybody else own your own name. If somebody else owns your name, you're leaving your reputation to chance.
Do a really good job on LinkedIn. Do a really good profile. Everything you write, copy, paste it, put it in Word. Couple of reasons. One, Word will spell check it for you. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone to somebody's profile and the words are spelled wrong, including sometimes their name. I've seen people where their name was spelled wrong. But do a spell check on your content. But the other thing is then save that Word document, because what you want to do with your really well-written LinkedIn profile is you want to leverage it. Take that content and go to other places.
Because remember, what happens in Vegas, Todd, usually ends up on Facebook. Thanks so much for inviting me. If you need to reach me, that's my contact information.